What if someone told you that in just 1 week, a simple oil probably sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now could help bring life back to the part of your body most older men worry about but rarely talk about? Yes, I'm talking about your manhood. And no, this isn't about medications, injections, or expensive procedures. It's about reclaiming what years of stress and aging may have dulled: your blood flow, your sensation, and your quiet confidence. I'm Dr. Laura, a men's health specialist and urologist with more than 3 decades of experience. I've worked with thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even into their 80s, men who thought they had lost that spark for good. They hadn't, and you haven't either. What I'm about to share with you isn't just theory. It's grounded in clinical research and backed by real-life stories from men who felt the difference. Yet for some reason, this approach is something most doctors won't even mention. Here's the part no one expects. One of the most effective ways to restore vitality to aging male tissue isn't tucked away in a pharmacy. It's completely natural, applied to the skin, and when done right, it can reignite warmth, awaken sensitivity, and help you feel present and alive again in the most personal way. This one simple daily habit has helped so many men reconnect with their bodies starting in just days. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through exactly what this oil is, how to apply it properly, what changes to look for over the course of a week, and 3 powerful tips to help you get even better results. So if lately you've felt a little off, a little less like yourself, stay with me, because what you're about to learn could be the beginning of something new. And before we get started, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe and tap the bell icon. I share real, actionable tips every week designed specifically for men over 60 who still want to live fully, energetically, and on their own terms. If anything in this message hits home, just type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and let me know how I can better support your health goals. Now let's get to the heart of it: why so many men over 60 start feeling disconnected from their bodies, particularly in the bedroom. It's not just about aging, and it's definitely not your fault. The real reason runs deeper. Most men aren't told this, but what's really going on is a slow decline in blood flow, nerve function, and cellular energy, especially in the area that defines so much of who we are as men. Why is this so common? I've seen it again and again: older men sitting across from me, shoulders slightly slouched, eyes down, reluctant to speak. Not because they're weak, but because they feel a piece of themselves slipping away. They don't move the same, they don't feel the same, and for many, intimacy has become frustrating or even painful. They rarely say it out loud, but I can hear it in their stories. I'm not who I used to be. The fire is dimming. The signals from the body aren't showing up the way they once did. And slowly, they start to believe that this is just what getting older means. But I'm here to tell you that's not the full picture. What's happening down there isn't some mysterious curse that comes with getting older. It's a gradual biological shift. As we age, the tiny arteries and vessels in the pelvic region, the ones responsible for delivering rich, oxygenated blood to the penis and surrounding tissue, begin to tighten and lose their elasticity. The ability they once had to expand quickly during arousal starts to slip away. And without that consistent blood flow, you don't just lose function, you lose sensation. The sharp responsiveness fades. Spontaneous erections become less frequent. That reliable morning stiffness that used to be second nature, it begins to vanish. There's more. Nerves that used to spark with the lightest contact now need stronger, longer stimulation to activate. And here's the part few men ever talk about: is that circulation and nerve signaling diminish. The brain starts to mentally disconnect from that region. It begins to feel foreign, distant, like it's no longer yours. For many men, what disappears first isn't just physical performance, it's that deep, quiet confidence that comes from feeling alive in your own body. And that loss hits hard. You feel it not only in private moments, but when you catch your reflection, in the distance you sense in your relationship, in the way you speak to yourself. Let me share something personal. My own father, a rugged, capable man who built his life with his hands, once sat me down and said softly, "Son, it's like a part of me just stopped showing up. I feel like I'm fading." That moment stuck with me, not because it was sad, but because I knew it didn't have to be that way. He didn't need a miracle. What he needed was blood flow. He needed stimulation. He needed attention to a part of himself he'd stopped caring for. And once we focused on that, once we gave his body the right tools to wake back up, it wasn't just a physical change. His entire presence shifted, his energy came back, his eyes lit up again. You see, this isn't really about aging, it's about neglect. The male body doesn't just shut down with time. It waits patiently for a signal, a reminder that it still matters. And here's the powerful truth. That signal doesn't have to come from a bottle of pills. It can come from something far simpler, something time-tested, natural, and shockingly effective. In fact, it might already be tucked away in your pantry, waiting to be used in a whole new way. So now you're probably wondering, what is this overlooked remedy? And how exactly does it help restore that responsiveness and strength you used to feel? Let me take you back to a moment I'll never forget. The first time I shared this oil with one of my longtime patients, Edward, a 72-year-old Marine veteran. He carried that classic resilience, proud, quiet, never quick to complain. But during one visit, he finally looked me square in the eyes and said, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore." That hit me hard, not because I hadn't heard it before, but because I could tell he still had that fire deep down. He just needed the right way to fan the flame again. When I told Edward that a simple, natural oil could help restore sensation, improve blood flow, and even boost his confidence, all without medications, he raised an eyebrow. "Oil?" he asked. "You mean something I just rub on like lotion?" I smiled and nodded. "Exactly, but not just any oil. This one is special." What I gave him was rosemary essential oil, diluted with almond oil, and what happened over the next week was nothing short of amazing. Most people know rosemary as a common kitchen herb, but for centuries, traditional healers across the Mediterranean have used it not just for cooking but to improve circulation, reduce inflammation, and support muscle recovery. Modern science is now confirming what ancient cultures already understood. Rosemary oil contains rosmarinic acid, which helps relax and widen blood vessels, allowing more oxygen-rich blood to reach tissues down below. It also contains natural compounds like carnosol that reduce inflammation and improve nerve function, exactly what aging male tissue needs. When applied to the lower pelvic area, around the pubic bone, groin, and base of the penis, rosemary oil produces a sensation many men haven't felt in years. A gentle warmth, not a harsh burn, but a soothing activation, like your body is waking up. Gerald, one of my patients, described it perfectly. "It felt like electricity flowing just beneath my skin," he said. "Not painful, just alive." He wasn't imagining it. The oil was stimulating blood flow in the small vessels and softly encouraging his nerves to respond again. But this oil does more than just affect the biology. It gives men a sense of control. You're no longer just waiting for a pill to kick in or hoping for a better night. You're actively caring for yourself. You're reconnecting with a part of your body that deserves attention, not shame or silence, but respect. This becomes more than a simple routine. It becomes a quiet ritual. And for men like Gerald, that ritual marks a turning point. Now that you know about the oil, let's talk about how to use it. Because how you apply it can make all the difference. Small mistakes in timing, technique, or location can mean the difference between modest improvements and a full transformation. Next, I'll guide you step by step through the exact method my patients use daily and how you can start tonight. Step by step, how to apply rosemary oil safely and effectively. One of the biggest misconceptions I see among men trying natural remedies is treating it like a chore, something to rush through just to get it done. But your body doesn't respond well to hurry, especially after 60. What your body responds to is intention, gentle care, and presence. And when it comes to using rosemary oil to restore blood flow below the belt, the way you apply it is just as important as the oil itself. Let me show you what I've taught dozens of patients and even my own father. First, you need to prepare the oil properly. Essential oils are highly concentrated, so they must be diluted in a carrier oil like sweet almond, coconut, or jojoba oil. The simple guideline is 3 to 5 drops of rosemary oil per tablespoon of carrier oil. Warm the mixture gently in your palms until it feels comfortably warm, not hot. That warmth sends a healing signal to your body. Now, here's where most men rush, but where the real benefits begin. Make sure your skin is clean and dry. Ideally, Apply the oil after a warm shower when your pores are open and your muscles are relaxed. Find a comfortable standing or sitting position and start massaging at the base of your abdomen, just above the pubic bone. Using your fingertips, apply the oil with slow, circular motions. Don't press hard. This isn't about force, it's about rhythm. Gradually move outward to your inner thighs, gently covering the groin and the base of the penis. You don't need to apply the oil directly to the shaft unless you want to, but massaging around it can boost blood flow and sensation. Breathe deeply. As you do this, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Feel the warmth spreading beneath your hands. For many men, this is the first time in years they've intentionally connected with this part of their body, not out of frustration or function, but for healing. That's powerful. That's the moment the change begins. Start by doing this once a day, preferably in the evening. Some men find benefit in doing it twice a day, morning and night, especially during the first week. Each session should last about 5 to 7 minutes. Not long, but enough to say to your body, "I'm here. I'm listening. I care." One of my patients, Frank, shared that after just 3 days of this routine, he felt something stirring inside, not just physically, but emotionally. He said, "I didn't realize how much I'd missed this kind of attention. It reminded me that I'm still a man." And he was absolutely right. This isn't just a massage, it's a message to your body, your nervous system, and your sense of masculinity, and the results speak for themselves. So, what should you expect over the next 7 days? This is where it gets exciting. If you follow the routine correctly, day by day you'll start to notice changes, and they're often more significant than men expect. Let me walk you through what's possible one day at a time. What to expect. Daily progress over a week. I know many men are skeptical when I say you can see noticeable improvements in just 7 days. After years, sometimes decades, of decline, it's tough to believe that a simple daily oil ritual can begin to bring your body back to life. But I've seen it happen not once or twice, but repeatedly. And when men commit even for just a week, something shifts, not only down below, but in the way they carry themselves and the way they reconnect with their own bodies. The first day is often more about emotion than physical changes. You might not notice a big difference in sensation or performance right away, but the simple act of applying the oil, massaging gently, and breathing deeply that reconnects you to a part of yourself you may have forgotten. One man told me after his very first session, it wasn't the oil that mattered most. It was realizing I'd stopped touching myself in a way that felt respectful, like I actually mattered. That moment of kindness to yourself is where real healing begins. By day 2 or 3, you may start to feel a soft warmth in the area, a gentle buzz or tingling, especially when you wake up in the morning. That's blood flow returning. Your body is remembering how to respond. It might seem subtle, but it's real. Your tissues are getting nourished again. Your nerves are waking up. Around day 4 or 5, many men notice their sensitivity changing. It becomes easier to get aroused. Erections may come more naturally, without the need for constant mental focus. You might even see morning wood returning or feel more sensation during touch. With these signs, confidence begins to quietly rebuild. By day 6, something shifts deeper, not just in the body, but emotionally. Men start to stand a little taller, feel more grounded. When they look in the mirror, they don't just see signs of aging, they see potential and possibility. Partners often notice this shift too. Not necessarily because of sex itself, but because of the renewed energy you're giving off. You're present again, and that presence is magnetic. Day 7 is what I call the mirror moment. You'll find yourself noticing that the area feels warmer, fuller, more responsive, and you'll realize it's not just about the oil. It's about what it represents: attention, intention, and restoration. One man, aged 74, told me, "I thought that part of me was gone for good, but now it feels like it's mine again." And that's only the beginning. 7 days open the door. But what if you could go even further? What if you could boost these results, make them stronger and more lasting just by adding a few more natural tools? While rosemary oil is powerful on its own, I often recommend combining it with 3 other oils that, when used together, can take your progress to a whole new level. Let me introduce you to this perfect trio. Real patient story. William, 68. William was one of those men you immediately respected, a retired engineer from Ohio, broad-shouldered with a calm, steady voice. The kind of man who built his life on logic, structure, and doing things right. One afternoon, he came to see me, his eyes carrying a quiet heaviness. He didn't complain he didn't have to. After a few minutes of casual conversation, he leaned in and said, "Doc, I still love my wife. I still feel desire. But my body, it just doesn't follow anymore." That sentence stuck with me. There was no bitterness, just a quiet sense of defeat. I asked William a few simple questions. When was the last time you felt strong in your body? When did you last wake up with an erection? When was intimacy something that felt like connection, not pressure? He paused and said quietly, "It's been years." William was skeptical when I first told him about rosemary oil. Like many men his age, he'd tried the usual options, blue pills, supplements, even testosterone creams, but they either didn't work or made him feel off. The idea of using an oil, something natural, gentle, almost ritualistic, felt strange to him. But I told him what I'll tell you. Sometimes the most powerful healing isn't loud. It's subtle, steady, and rooted in care. He followed my instructions. 5 to 7 minutes every night after a warm shower. No distractions. Just the oil, his hands, and a quiet room. At first, he said it felt a little silly, like going through the motions without expecting much. But by day 4, he noticed something different. He started waking up before his alarm clock, not from discomfort, but from a quiet buzz of energy in his pelvis. It wasn't exactly arousal, it was a feeling of being alive, warmth, flow. By day 6, he told me he looked in the mirror and saw himself differently. "Doc," he said, "I saw a man again." That moment stayed with me. We often think male health is all about performance, but really, it's about presence, feeling connected to your own body. Knowing that something inside you still works, still responds, still matters. On day 7, William held his wife's hand during their morning walk and felt something change, not just within himself, but between them. He didn't say a word. He didn't need to. She noticed the energy, the confidence, that quiet strength of a man who had found himself again. William's story isn't rare. It's just rarely shared, because many men don't believe a story like his could be theirs, but it can be. And if you're wondering how to take these results further, how to build on what you've started and keep the momentum going, then you'll want to hear about 3 more oils I've seen work wonders alongside rosemary. They're natural, easy to find, and incredibly effective. Let's dive into those next. Bonus: 3 oils to boost your results. While rosemary oil is powerful on its own, I always remind my patients that nature rarely works alone. Just like our bodies, plants thrive in synergy. Over the years, I've seen men get even better results when they combine rosemary with a few other time-tested oils. Each offers unique benefits to support circulation, arousal, and overall male vitality. These oils aren't exotic or hard to find. They're simple, natural, and when used correctly, can take your progress to the next level. The first oil is ginger. Yes, the same root you probably use in your cooking is also a powerful topical stimulator. Ginger boosts local blood flow by warming the tissues and relaxing the blood vessels. It delivers a gentle heat that wakes up cold, sluggish areas without ever feeling harsh or overwhelming. When combined with rosemary, ginger adds a spark. One of my patients, Martin, 71 years old, called this combination his spark plug blend. He said it gave his body a lift that made him feel a full decade younger. Next up is lavender. Now, I know some men might think, lavender? Isn't that just for sleep or stress relief? Not exactly manly. But here's what I've learned as a doctor. Tension is one of the biggest hidden enemies of male performance. If your pelvic floor, lower back, or inner thighs are holding on to stress, it can seriously impact blood flow, arousal, and sensitivity. Lavender oil doesn't just soothe muscles, it calms the nervous system. When your body feels relaxed and safe, it responds better. The third oil is one I've come to respect deeply: black seed oil. Known for centuries in Middle Eastern medicine, black seed is packed with antioxidants and compounds that support hormone balance, reduce inflammation, and help maintain healthy testosterone levels. When used topically in a blend, it nourishes the tissues and promotes deeper healing. It's subtle, but incredibly effective. Here's the blend I usually recommend: 3 drops of rosemary, 2 drops of ginger, and 1 drop of lavender or black seed oil, mixed into 1 tablespoon of a carrier oil like almond or coconut. Warm the mixture gently in your palms and apply it using the slow, circular massage technique I described earlier. Each oil brings its own unique benefit, and together they create a more complete, balanced response. What I love most about these blends is that they let you tune in to what your body needs. Some days you might crave more energy, other days more calm. Sometimes you'll want deeper recovery. You can adjust the blend to fit your needs. That's the magic of working with nature. You're not forcing results, you're inviting them. But even the best oils won't do much if your daily habits aren't supportive. The men I see who make the most lasting changes are the ones who combine these oils with a few simple lifestyle shifts. And no, I'm not talking about dieting or hitting the gym. Just 3 or 4 easy changes anyone can start today. Let me show you how to make this stick. The biggest mistake men over 60 often make. This is tough to say, but it needs to be heard. The biggest mistake I see among men over 60 isn't physical, it's emotional. It's the quiet choice to give up on themselves. Not all at once, not in a dramatic moment, but slowly, day by day, they start accepting a smaller, more limited version of life, a life that feels less connected. Many men convince themselves that what they're feeling or not feeling is just part of getting older, that their best years are behind them, that intimacy, confidence, and strength belong only to younger men. But here's the truth: that belief can be far more damaging than any physical diagnosis. Because the moment you stop caring for yourself, especially below the belt, you start disconnecting from the very energy that makes you feel alive. I've seen this happen again and again. Men stop looking in the mirror. They stop reaching out to their partners. They stop expecting anything better from their own bodies. And that quiet resignation, it steals more than function, it steals joy. One patient, Arthur, once told me something that broke my heart. He said, "I just didn't think I deserved to feel like a man anymore." And I told him, and I'm telling you now, you do. You always have. You don't have to accept decline. Your body is still listening. It's just waiting for you to speak to it again. Most men focus only on surface problems. They want quicker erections, stronger sensation, more stamina, which is understandable. But they overlook the true foundation: circulation, nerve response, hormonal balance, and presence. Those are the essential building blocks. And they're still within reach, but only if you're willing to shift from resignation to restoration. That's why this simple oil routine isn't just about physical results. It's about reclaiming something deeper, the understanding that your body deserves care. That pleasure is still yours to enjoy. That feeling good in your own skin is not something to apologize for, it's something you absolutely deserve. The mistake isn't getting older. The mistake is believing that aging means giving up on growth. But I promise you, it doesn't have to be that way. You can age and still awaken. You can slow down and still rise. But only if you show up not just once, not just for a week, but with steady, quiet commitment. If you're ready to move beyond a short-term experiment and build a lasting, lifelong habit, the next step is crucial. Because real change doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from what you do consistently. Let me show you how to turn this new connection with your body into a daily rhythm that fits smoothly into your life and lasts for years to come. How to make this a lifelong ritual. When I first introduced this oil routine to my patients, most treated it like an experiment, something to try for a week or two, just to see what happens. And that's okay. We all have to start somewhere. But what surprised me was how many came back weeks later, not just for a follow-up, but with a new energy in their voice. They didn't just want results anymore. They wanted rhythm. They wanted this to be a real part of their lives. Because here's the truth. Healing isn't about what you do once, it's about what you do consistently, with care. And for men over 60, making this a daily or weekly ritual isn't just helpful, it's transformative. The body responds to patterns. When you give it the same message every day, you still matter, your body begins to believe it. Not just through what you can do physically, but through your presence, your strength, and your sensations. So how do you make this lasting? Start simple. Pair the oil massage with something you already do, like brushing your teeth at night or taking your morning shower. Keep the oil somewhere visible, not tucked away in a drawer. Make it part of your space. Then give yourself 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need candles or music or anything fancy, just your hands, your breath, and your intention to reconnect. Some of my patients like to begin with a short walk, 5 or 10 minutes outside, just enough to get blood flowing. Others add gentle movements, rising onto their toes, softly rotating their hips, stretching their thighs. It's not exercise, it's activation. Then comes the oil. Warm it in your palms. Take a deep breath. Let your touch be firm but kind. You're not rushing. You're listening. This is your time. And here's what matters most: consistency. Some days you'll feel more, other days less. But every time you show up, you're telling your body, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. Over time, that message sinks deep. It becomes less about trying and more about simply being a quiet return to something you thought was lost. James, a 66-year-old former truck driver, said it best: "This isn't a routine anymore. It's part of me, like my morning coffee or saying goodnight to my wife. It just belongs." That's the kind of change we're aiming for, not just improvement, but full integration. Because once your body remembers how it's meant to feel, the next question becomes, how far can this go? Believe it or not, what we've covered so far is just the beginning. There's one more truth you need to hear, one that could change the way you see your body, your past, and your future as a man. Let's talk about that now. A final word to men over 60. After working with thousands of men over 3 decades, there's something I've come to believe deeply. Just because a part of your body has been quiet for a while doesn't mean it's gone. It might be sleeping, it might be waiting, but it's not gone, and neither are you. Too many men cross 60 feeling like they're fading from their own lives. Not because they've lost strength or their minds, but because they've lost their connection to their bodies, their sense of self, their place in the world as a man. I've had patients tell me they feel invisible even in their own homes. Not needed, not wanted, not alive in the way they once were. And my answer is always the same. You are still here, and your body is still listening, even if it's been quiet for some time. The oil, the massage, the routine, all of that matters. But beneath it all lies something even more powerful: attention. When you give attention to a part of yourself, it responds. It doesn't matter how long it's been neglected, the body remembers. Your hands, your breath, your presence, they send a message to your nervous system, your circulation, your spirit. You matter. This isn't about trying to feel like you're 25 again. It's about feeling like yourself again, a fuller, stronger, more present version of you. A man who hasn't given up. A man who understands that his worth doesn't fade with age. I've seen men in their 70s, even their 80s, look me in the eye after just a few weeks of this simple practice and say, I feel like I came home to myself. That's what I want for you. So tonight, when you're alone, take a moment, sit quietly, warm a few drops of oil between your palms, breathe, touch your body like it deserves to be cared for, because it does. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring everything your body has carried you through: the pain, the work, the years, and choosing, right now, to care for it anyway. Because that care is strength. That care is masculinity. And the truth is, once you start this journey, once you reconnect and reclaim this part of yourself, you may notice something deeper beginning to shift. Not just your body, but your relationships, your confidence, your clarity. Because when you show up for yourself this way, the world responds differently to you too. If this message has stirred something inside you, even a small part, wondering what else might be possible, don't go anywhere. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a reminder that could change the way you live each day from this point forward. Let's bring it all together. This is just the beginning. If you've made it this far, thank you, not just for watching, but for showing up for yourself. That matters probably more than you realize. Because somewhere along the way, most men are told quietly, sometimes not so quietly, that after a certain age, they should expect less. Less energy, less connection, less intimacy. But I'm here to tell you, that's simply not true. You are still here, your body is still capable, and this journey you're beginning is proof of that. We've talked about why men over 60 struggle below the belt, not because they're broken, but because circulation, nerve response, and presence have slowly faded. We've seen how something as natural as rosemary oil can reignite those vital systems, and how pairing it with the right intention and simple daily rituals can bring back warmth, sensation, and even confidence. You've heard real stories from men like William and James, men who refused to settle, men who quietly turned hope into powerful, lasting change. And you've learned how blending rosemary with other natural oils and gentle movement can deepen that transformation even further. But what I really want you to take away isn't just the method, it's the message. You matter. Your health, your pleasure, your presence, these still belong to you. And every day you choose to care for yourself, no matter how small the step, is a day you reclaim your strength. So don't let this be just the end of a video. Let it be the beginning, a return to yourself, your body, and the man you've always been. The next chapter is waiting, and it starts with you. If this video resonated with you even just a little, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button so YouTube knows this is important. Share it with another guy in your life who might need to hear this today. And drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what part stood out the most to you. If you value straightforward, uplifting health advice for men over 60, please consider supporting the channel with a donation. Every little bit helps me keep creating content that truly cares about men's well-being. Thank you for being here. It means a lot to share this journey with you.